Fuck, that might be more than it would to fucking get me to suck a dick. Because we've already established that for $500,000 we would suck a dick. Me and Billy established this. Chris would not. But I don't like eating dog shit. You might have to pay me. Fuck. Am I allowed to throw up afterwards? Because like if I could, it's like if I have to keep it down, I don't know.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Hard Reset, a Cold North joint. I'm your host, the Law Morris. Joining me as usual, we have the gorgeous Ben Reynolds.
Meow.
Woof woof. Tonight's gonna.
However,
that's right, cat shit. Tonight's gonna be a little bit of a familiar fireside chat just between the two of us, because we are missing our third this week, but that's okay because Ben. Well, apparently, it would take more money to get Ben to eat dog shit than it would to get him to suck a dick.
I mean, dog shit's way grosser, like way less clean than a dick,
Dude,
would imagine.
I would eat dog shit for like $10,000. I would, honestly, like, times are tough. I would eat dog shit for like $1,000.
Well, because like Billy and my whole argument for the whole $500,000 thing is it's like, dude, you could buy a fucking house for sucking a dick.
Yeah, I would suck a dick for $500,000. I would, but like, I would eat dog shit for way, way less.
I mean, as long as I didn't have to keep it down.
I mean, okay, you keep it down for like 3 minutes.
3 minutes? Fuck that, dude. I don't think that's gonna happen. Like I don't think I could keep it down. Like you'd have to give me a pretty good amount of money to be able to keep it down for 3 minutes. Like that'd probably take at least like. I mean, $1,000 would be nice, but
that's a lot of money.
Yeah, but I also don't really want to eat dog shit.
I don't blame you. Now, you're listening to number 80, the one where we're going to wrap up our bracket on the most interesting launch lineups and apparently discuss how much it would cost to get us to eat dog shit. Now, as usual, we're going to get started with what we've been playing this week. Ben, tell me what you've been playing this week.
NBA 2K19.
NBA 2K19. Still playing that on the Xbox, right?
Oh, yeah.
Haven't chipped away at RE2?
It's one of those things where it's like lately I've been playing a lot of like video games after work because I haven't had a lot of time, and so it's like a lot of the time like people will be coming over or something, so I'll just only be able to pick it up for a little while. And like Resident Evil is one of those things where I want to be able to sit down for at least like an hour, whereas like I can play a game of 2K in like
20 minutes,
half an hour, 45 minutes, yeah, at most. And so it's like, oh yeah, like I can just pick up 2K and then put it down once the game's over, or even I can quit it in the middle of a game in 2K. Honestly, that doesn't bother me that much. Whereas like Resident Evil, it's just if you can't save it, you can't really stop playing.
Yeah, I'm just gonna quit. And like, so I finished Resident Evil 2 this weekend, and you're right, it is one of those games where you really got to put some time into it. I put like my entire afternoon into it on Saturday, and I played for like 5 hours and I finished it. But towards the late game, like there would be times when I'm thinking, man, it's been a long time since I've saved. And I look at my last save and it was like 50 minutes ago.
Mm-hmm. And you're like, oh fuck, I better save.
Yeah, like if I had died, that would have sucked.
You'd have been so mad.
But there's a pretty good like auto save feature that's like very forgiving. But man, if I
haven't died, I don't think I've died actually.
I didn't die for quite a while. Because you haven't gotten to the tyrant yet, right?
No.
Okay, so I didn't die until the tyrant killed me.
Okay.
But the tyrant's super scary.
Yeah, I can imagine.
And I would say almost detrimental to the game. Like, I feel like he's the worst part of the game.
My understanding is he's kind of like George. What's his name was in that one zombie map in Call of Duty where he just like walked around and fucked you up and then would regenerate.
Oh, I
even
don't
if you kill them or whatever.
I don't know because I haven't played Call of Duty Zombies that much. But
George A. Romero, that's who it was.
Thank you for getting that because I knew who you were talking about. But no, I don't know. I mean, a lot of people there are a lot of very obvious comparisons being made to the Alien from Alien Isolation because he's constantly looking for you and he's constantly like you can hear him. He's out there. But I think that where this game went wrong versus where Alien really nailed it was the Alien is really just looking around for you. Like the Alien is just searching. Whereas this guy, it's like it's like there is a radius around you and he always knows where the radius is. And so he will always walk to the radius. But once he's in there, he's going to look around for you. And I feel like the radius around you was way too small. It just made it way too like unforgiving, and it made that element of the game was very not fun for me.
Fair enough.
But overall, excellent game.
Wait, but you played with
Claire.
Yeah. So yeah, I played the other way, so apparently I have less Tyrant.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, so I only played the A side. I didn't even start the B side because I was just like this. I know what happens. I mean, I don't know what happened to Leon, but I don't really care because I know the general story. And so I don't really want to go back and do a bunch of stuff again.
It's one of those things where it probably makes sense to do it like 6 months or something like that.
Yeah, I might do that. That's a good idea. I'm going to make sure to upload my save to the cloud so that it's there. And then in like 6 months or a year when I want to play it again, I'll play Leon. That way I'll get a different experience, but same. Yeah. Same, but different.
Exactly.
But I would say not as good as Resident Evil 7.
Resident Evil 7's too scary.
Oh, so good. It's so good.
Alien was too scary too, though.
Alien was. I think of those three, Alien is the best. I loved Alien Isolation.
I mean, it was fun. That's Resident Evil 7 was fun. Like, it was a well-made game, but it was just too fucking scary.
Well, that's what was so good about it.
That's the same with Alien.
They get your heart rate going.
But it's like one of those things where like it's so scary that it feels like a chore for me to play it. Like I'm like, oh God, I'm gonna just get terrified.
I'm just gonna piss my pants. I know it. It's not gonna be fun. Like that's not a fun time.
And I think it partially just starts to become in those games. It starts to feel like a chore, especially with like Alien, because it's like, yeah, I know what's fucking gonna happen. The alien's gonna fucking find me and just wreck my shit, and then I'm gonna start over like a little bit further back and just try and be quieter, basically. Like, I know what's gonna happen. Like, it's not like a horror movie where you're sometimes you're kind of shocked, you know. Like that's because I do like horror movies.
You described that like it was a really sad, depressed man's take on a 9-to-5 job. Like, I know it's gonna happen. It's just gonna wreck my shit. I'm gonna start over a little bit further back, and I'm gonna try and do a little bit better. Like,
yeah, that's basically what that game is. And I mean, Resident Evil 7, I just basically when I just couldn't shoot somebody, like I shot somebody like a full clip into their fucking head, and I was just like, oh God, that didn't kill him. I don't think I want to play this game anymore.
Yeah. But so you didn't get very far in Alien Isolation, and like just the feeling of power of when you get the flamethrower. Like, there are very few scripted events, like scripted sequences in that game, because most of it is about the AI playing chess with you. And but right after you get the flamethrower, there is a scripted event where you're in this big open hallway and it drops down and it sees you. And it's the event is basically to teach you, get out that fucking flamethrower and shoot it, and it will run away. And it teaches you the power of the flamethrower, and oh my god, does that feel good, because this thing has been terrorizing you for hours, and it's just like you finally told it to fuck off, and it did. And like that was just a really temporarily, that's right. But that was just
come wreck your shit, and you'll start a little bit further back and try and do it better.
That's right. And that's a great game. But yeah, so sorry, we kind of got sidetracked with what I've been playing this week. Oh shit. Oh, there we go. We're back. We got sidetracked with what I've been playing this week, but 2K19, how would you say it compares to previous games?
I think that 2K did a really smart thing and actually made it easier to like upgrade your my character.
Okay.
Which is like you just earn the VC, their virtual credits, better, like faster than you used to, which is it's a blessing. And a lot of the stuff is a little bit cheaper. The badges you unlock quicker, which make your character better. It just seems like they made it a little easier to upgrade your character without having to pay, which is nice.
Yeah, that's
a very nice thing.
That's a welcome, like, quality of life improvement, I would say.
That's one of those things that like nobody's done anything really like that with a game in a while. Usually, it seems like it generally goes the other way with most
total
games.
Other direction. They're like, how do we get more? I mean, what is it? Ultimate Team or whatever that's called in FIFA.
Oh yeah, exactly. Well, and they still have their Ultimate Team thing in 2K, and that may generate them a fair amount of money.
Oh, I'm sure it does. 2K is one of the best-selling games every year.
Yeah, and so that's just a game mode that I've never had any interest in, because I realize that it is entirely based on spending money to get cards to play.
And you get so into 2K that's gonna
basically like turning 2K into a trading card game that also has games.
Yeah. And you get so into 2K that if you got like really into that, God, that would cost you so much money. I've heard of people spending like literally thousands of dollars on Ultimate Team on FIFA.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
Oh God, just makes me sick.
I guess it's just nice that they made it. I think that they probably realized that people like would be more likely to use like all of the features that they build for the My Character stuff if they made it easier to upgrade your My Character without having to like grind out or pay.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. And that's good, because it's like there is still the Ultimate Team option for people that are really into that, but like the rest of it is much more accessible for a single player experience.
Totally.
Well, we do have some news, and we're going to try and do it in a little more than 5, but it's time for a face-melting solo from Gorgeous Bananas. Nailed it. Perfect. Oh, God. Oh, my face. My face just melted off. So, Nintendo has updated their sales figures. Nintendo updated their own website to display more up-to-date sales figures. To date, the Nintendo Switch has sold 32.27 million units worldwide. Now,
that they've dropped their projections for their future sales.
So I think that they dropped their projection basically the big guess was that they were going to try and push for fiscal 2018 to sell 20 million Switches. And I think they dropped it to like 18 million just recently because they don't think they're going to make it. But to sell 18 million in a console's second year is huge. Like the Switch is selling like gangbusters. It's selling faster than the PS4 did in the same time period. And honestly, it's probably going to overtake the Xbox One this fiscal year, like fiscal 2019, because it's like estimates are that the Xbox One has sold 40 plus million units, like somewhere in that neighborhood. And if Switch is hanging out at 32.2 right now, you know they're going to outsell Xbox One this year.
Well, and then Microsoft had that big glitch last week where they like kind of like temporarily fried people's consoles.
Oh, I didn't hear about that at all. We're talking about the news, so brief us real quick on this.
Essentially, it was like some bug with like an Xbox Live update or something like that, and like unless you like, so the only experience with it that I had was I was trying to play 2K against Chris downstairs, but since that Xbox is set up as my primary Xbox and Billy bought 2K, we could not launch 2K because there was some sort of error issue, but I could play it up here on my Xbox because that's set to Billy's primary Xbox.
So it was basically killing game sharing for a minute.
Yes, but then I was talking to one of my friends at work who has an Xbox One X, and he said that he had some issue where like it was doing the same thing to him, and then he tried to do like a hard reset, and he started it up, and it just went to a black screen.
Oh, yikes.
And then he like started doing troubleshooting stuff, and they were like, take it to a Microsoft store, and it was his day off, and it was early in his day off, and he wanted to play video games on his day off, and he was like, well, shit, I guess I'm gonna take it to a Microsoft store. So he went down to Cherry Creek, and they like started it up, and it started for them, and he was like, well, that's weird. It was not where it literally black screened on me when I started it before, because I guess he was saying that it did the Xbox 4K like startup screen. It was doing that,
okay,
but it would then after that it would black screen.
Oh, interesting.
And so they tried it a second time, and it did it, and so they just gave him a new one right then.
Oh, really? They just gave him a new console?
Yeah.
Holy shit. Well, Ben is frozen. Ben's back.
Okay. So I was reading about it, and they apparently they launched somehow hot sent of like an update that was able to even repair affected systems.
Okay.
And so, yeah, then they didn't have to. Yeah, it was, I guess, not. So they replaced his Xbox without really needing to. But at the same time, it was good for him because he wanted to play video games on his day off.
Yeah, man, that would be so. So, did he have a black Xbox One X? Just out of curiosity.
I believe so. I'm not positive.
Okay. So I waited very specifically for the white Xbox One X, and it's a limited edition, and I think it's still out there. I think it's still available, but like, goddamn, if my Xbox One X did that and I took it in and they were like, oh, sorry, here's a black one. Oh, I would be so pissed.
Yeah, that would suck. I bet they'd probably mail you. They'd probably be like, oh, okay, we can send you a white one, but you're gonna have to wait.
I would be fine with that as long as I got the white one.
I bet they'd be able to send you a white one, but yeah, you would probably have to wait.
Yeah. So, man, that sucks. But leading into that, Xbox Live expanding. So Microsoft announced this week that they have plans to roll out a dev kit to bring Xbox Live to other platforms, including iOS and Android, which humdrum, who gives a fuck. But more importantly, the Nintendo Switch. Now, we discussed this a little bit earlier, Ben, but what do you think this is going to be?
My first thought is a solution for Nintendo Switch's terrible voice chat. Yeah. That was literally the first thing I thought of, is like, oh, I guess Nintendo just decided to outsource voice chat.
Outsource everything. They might as well, because their network is shit.
Yeah, and
maybe we'd be able to play Smash online.
Like, well, that would be great if we could, if it did mean that. I'm curious. I'm very curious to see what's going to happen. I mean, for what I actually hope it means is that I hope that we get like Game Pass on Switch, that then if I could get Game Pass on Switch, maybe not with the full like lineup that is available on Xbox, but I mean, with like even just a somewhat limited lineup with like some of the Xbox 360 games and stuff like that, obviously would be super fucking cool.
Well, so those aren't going to run natively on Switch, but what I'm thinking, and maybe, I mean, so going off of your idea on the Game Pass lineup, is like maybe they could bring the whole Game Pass lineup to the Switch, because Microsoft announced last year at E3 that they're super invested in cloud gaming, in bringing a full console experience to basically any device you want to play on. And so,
I guess they did say that they're bringing it to iOS and Android too.
Exactly. And then on top of that, the Switch has already proven that it can do that, because you can play Resident Evil 7 and Assassin's Creed Odyssey on the Switch in Japan.
Oh.
Because in Japan, they have cloud versions of these games, which is basically, it's just the game streaming to the Switch.
Okay.
And so the Switch is already doing that in some parts of the world in an extremely limited capacity. But like, if Microsoft were to expand and put all of their Game Pass library in the cloud to stream to basically any device you want, holy shit, that would improve that would increase the value of Xbox Live, the value of Game Pass, and the value of the Switch.
But at the same time, would Nintendo be into that?
I think so.
Because, well, hear me out. I think, because then they're basically being like, our that's basically them just being like, yep, our online service is terrible. Don't buy ours. Buy this Xbox One and then buy our games that you want to play.
I think that Nintendo might, because they're charging $20 a year. Like, they've basically, and a family pack is $30 or $35. They've basically already admitted that their online service is shit. And like, by not pricing at the $60, which is the standard for PS4 and Xbox One, or PSN and Xbox Live, they've basically already admitted that it is less than, just in the way they priced it. And so maybe they could transform it into, because Nintendo is very good at doing their own thing. And so maybe they could transform it into like a very Nintendo type, like, hey, this is just a subscription for a virtual console, and if you want to do online stuff, you got to have Xbox Live.
Yeah, I suppose that's true.
And I think that would be a really cool way to do it. It would give Nintendo more resources to take off of Nintendo Switch Online and put onto, hey, let's get a really robust virtual console going with multiple consoles. So instead of just NES or even just SNES, let's start getting N64 games working on the Switch. Let's start getting GameCube games working on the Switch. Let's increase the price of this a little bit, make it a better value, and just really put a lot of resources into that, and let Microsoft take care of the more technical stuff.
Well, and that's, I mean, because Microsoft is clearly going to have more server space than Nintendo would, I'm sure.
And exactly, and on top of that, like,
although I'm sure that they all really use AWS, so.
Well, I actually don't think that Microsoft does.
Oh, but does Nintendo?
I have no idea.
Like, so much of the world does.
I know, I know. But on top of that, there is the infamous story of, like, there was some engineer who I'm telling this story based on my memory of reading it several years ago, but I think some engineer from Microsoft or from Sony, like one of the big dogs over there, quit and went to Nintendo. And and this was like in the early development of the Wii U, and when he got there, and there
so it would have been post 2014.
It would have been pre 2012.
Oh,
so this would have been like around 2009, 2010.
Okay, well, because 2014 is when Microsoft really started coming back.
With Xbox Live?
Well, no, just in general, because that's when, what's his name took over.
Oh, that's right. Phil Spencer.
No. That is not his name. He's Indian.
Oh, you mean Microsoft as a company?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. I thought you were talking about Xbox specifically. Phil Spencer runs Xbox.
Oh, yeah. No. The person that I am referring to is...
While you're thinking of that,
Satya Nadella.
Nadella. So, but one of these big guys went over, like, quit either Sony or Microsoft and went to Nintendo in the early development of the Wii U, and they were like, Nintendo was really psyched up on the idea of doing online on the Wii U. But when he got there, they basically showed him what they had, and he was like, they pretty much had no idea how this stuff was done. Like, they had no idea how PSN or Xbox Live runs. And it was this really, like, kind of eye-opening experience to how, like, in their own little bubble they've been for so long. And that's just such a Nintendo thing to do.
Well, wasn't there some type of online on Wii, original Wii?
There was, but it was always so rudimentary and just ass backwards that it was never even close to comparable to, like, what Microsoft had for the original Xbox even.
Okay. Huh.
But yeah.
Well, and I remember trying to play, like, DS games with other people having DS who had DSs, and that being not
pain in the ass.
Great.
To say the least.
Whereas, like, PSPs playing together was awesome, and we did it the entire way to Florida.
That's not true. We actually played DS all the way to Florida, but what we were doing was download play.
No, well, I guess we played some of both, because I definitely played some GTA against somebody on PSP
Mike
on
Sousa.
that flight too.
Oh no, Mike Sousa wasn't on that trip, was he?
No, I think it was Ramiro.
Oh, okay.
But I think Ramiro was in on the Mario Kart also.
Yeah, because he was always winning. Fucking Ramiro.
Or no, maybe it was Eric. No, Eric never had a PSP.
Yeah, he did.
Oh, he did?
Yeah.
Okay, then maybe it was Eric.
But so in other news, PlayStation 5 backwards compatibility is looking to be more and more of an actual thing. Digital Foundry writer John Linneman tweeted, quote, "It will absolutely have this. Zero question." End quote. When he tweeted that in response to a tweet asking if the PlayStation 5 will be backwards compatible with PS4 games. Now, the significance of this guy saying this over, just pretty much anyone else saying this, is the clout that comes with Digital Foundry. They are really the hardcore technical experts in the industry. So like, I don't know if you've ever watched their videos, Ben, but when it comes down to really breaking down technical performance of a game, Digital Foundry is the go-to source. And so I know that we've discussed it before, but like, how confident do you feel that the PlayStation 5 will be backwards compatible with PS4 games?
Well, based on what he's saying, I have zero questions.
Okay. And do you think that backwards compatibility is a selling point for you?
Yeah, I don't like I don't like the idea of losing my library.
I agree with you on that. And like the idea of, because when the PS4 first came out, I bought the PS4, and then for months you and I played PS3 Grand Theft Auto. And it was like, I wanted to be playing my PS4, but the fact is I was like, there were very few games for it, and the PS3 was in its heyday. And so like,
and I didn't have one yet.
Yeah, and you didn't have one.
Or a PS4 yet.
So we were playing PS3 for a long time, and like, if I could even play PS4 games on my PS5, at least I'm still playing my PS5, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So,
yeah.
And then
if day one it could play every PS4 game,
God,
that would
awesome.
be such a big deal.
It really would be. And I think that Microsoft is going to do that. Like, I think that that's a huge priority for Microsoft.
Yeah. Because especially as these companies are moving and encouraging people to have a digital library because of the fact that it's so wasteful to make discs and have all the plastic cases and all of that, which I know you love, but
I do. But the convenience of digital, believe me, there is a big part of me that envies Andrew's digital library.
I'm basically the only game that I actually play regularly that I don't own digitally is Overwatch, and so I have a copy of Overwatch in my Xbox and a copy of Overwatch in my PlayStation, and I never changed what games in them. The other games that I have are all digital, basically.
That's interesting. I have there are games that I'll buy. Like, I'll buy most of my games physical. But then there are games that, like, I play this enough, I'm going to buy it digital as well because I want the convenience. So I basically never uninstall Overwatch. And then I actually just recently uninstalled Grand Theft Auto 5 for the very first time since I downloaded it.
That's crazy. Why?
What's crazy to you is that I did it, not that it's been on my PlayStation for almost 5 years.
Dude, well, I was gonna suggest that we play it.
but no, I moved Grand Theft Auto 5. I downloaded it like when it came out, and I moved it from my original PlayStation to my first PlayStation 4 Pro. Then I moved it from my Pro to my White Pro, and it's just been installed the entire time. And Overwatch is doing a similar thing. Of course, not as long a run as Grand Theft Auto 5 had, but I think that I'm with you, especially with companies pushing consumers to do all digital. That's a big deal.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and it'll make people be like, oh, well, yeah, maybe I should just start buying digital games more, which is what they want people to do. So
exactly, because there's a better margin for the companies, and there's like selling it in their store is really good. There's just so many advantages to it for the retailers, and I mean the potential for like I'm having a brain fart. The potential for the consumer to have so much convenience is really nice. I just wish that digital copies were a little cheaper.
Eliminates theft also.
That's true.
And yeah, then fucking GameStop can close because fuck them.
That's true. And
Although it would probably mean the end of a store like
Game Force.
Game Force, which was one of our faves.
Or Bull Moose. Shout out to Bull Moose. And a game called Apex Legends was released with very little lead up. It was just dropped on February 4th, which was this past Monday. EA just released their own kind of answer to the free-to-play Battle Royale game, and theirs is called Apex Legends. This was developed by the Titanfall creator Respawn and designed to capitalize on the popularity of the free-to-play Battle Royale genre. Apex Legends is looking to compete with Fortnite and Blackout to an extent. But this does all come at the cost of Titanfall 3, as Titanfall 3 is officially no longer in development.
I never played any of the other Titanfalls, so...
Well, Titanfall 1 was not my jam. I didn't like it. But
well, they're probably worried that because MechWarrior is in development.
MechWarrior is in development?
There's a new MechWarrior game in development.
I did not know that. But I feel like with as good as Titanfall 2 was, like, I don't think they got anything to worry about. God, Titanfall 2 was so good. But they...
MechWarrior games were always so sick.
That's true. You know, remember Alex Reinhardt, friend of the show, was really into Mech Assault. God, that was a weird
no,
game.
he was... I think you're thinking of MechWarrior, because...
No, dude was way into Mech Assault.
Okay, well...
Maybe
he
was
and I
into both.
definitely played a lot of MechWarrior.
Maybe Alex Reinhardt is one of those weird people that's really into mechs.
It sounds like he may have, it may be, or he was, as a young lad.
It's like mech games and just mech. It's this almost weird subgenre of anime that some people are just so fucking into, and I mean, it's like, yeah, mechs are cool, but like, okay, I don't get why your dick is hard for him.
If you could see my video right now, you'd see I'm doing the diva peace pose.
Oh, nice. Diva is cool as fuck. But I would strongly suggest that you play Titanfall 2. You can find it on PSN for like $6 fairly regularly. And
doll hairs?
Yes, doll hairs. Sony takes that as currency now. But
that's incredible.
Titanfall 2 was so fucking good, and they had this incredibly subtle Easter egg at the end of the game. And it's like, because spoiler alert, Ben, you're about to get Titanfall 2 spoiled for you. But so you play as this guy Jack, and
Yak.
Yes. And he and his Titan BT, and they form this bond throughout the game, and then there's this level in the middle of the game that's like really different and really weird, and you end up like traveling from one time to another really quickly, basically with the press of a button, and BT's AI has to go into Jack's helmet to like do this, and then like they get what they need, and the level is over. And then you finish the game like several hours later. That level takes place maybe a third of the way into the game. And then you finish the game several hours later, and BT dies at the end. And it's like this heart-wrenching moment because you really love BT. And then credits roll, and at the end, like after the credits, you see Jack's helmet, and the light on Jack's visor just starts flashing. And you don't think anything of it. It's just like, oh, it's sad. But some friggin' weirdos looked at it, and in Morse code, it says, "Are you there, Jack?" And so BT's AI is still in the fucking helmet, and it's awesome. But now Titanfall 3 is never going to happen. So rest in peace, BT.
Were they characters from Titanfall 1?
No, Titanfall 1 was basically just a multiplayer shooter.
Oh.
So
maybe that's why Titanfall 2 was not very popular?
Titanfall 2 was put out to die, basically. I mean, Titanfall 2 wasn't very popular because that year it came, like, there was Battlefield, and then 2 weeks later there was Call of Duty. And literally the week between was Titanfall 2.
Huh.
And it doesn't make any sense why EA would do that, because EA published both Titanfall 2 and Battlefield 1. And so
they competed with themselves.
Yeah, they fucked their own game over. And honestly, of those three, it was far and away the best of the three.
Well, should we start playing Apex Legends?
I'm going to try it this week.
All right.
You should jump on with me. It'll be a good time.
Maybe so.
All right, but now we're going to move on to the topic of the show.
Topic of the show.
I like it. So tonight we're going to be wrapping up our randomized bracket of what some of the most interesting, and I stress most interesting, not best, launch lineups have ever been. The consoles that made it through the first round are the N64, the DS, the 360, the GameCube, the Wii, and the PSP. Once again, just a reminder, North American physical retail releases only. We have 2 3-way matchups tonight, and then a finals matchup. Our first matchup is the N64 versus the DS versus the 360. So we went through all of the games that launched with these consoles last week, and but just a quick refresh of the heavy hitters for the N64. It was obviously Super Mario 64 and partially Star Wars Shadows of the Empire. The DS, the heavy hitters were Super Mario 64. I would say probably Madden 05, Metroid Prime Hunter's First Hunt, even though that was just a demo. And the 360.
Feel the magic.
Feel the magic. XYXX. And the 360 launched with Call of Duty 2, Condemned Criminal Origins, Madden 06, Need for Speed Most Wanted, Peter Jackson's King Kong, actually a pretty good game. Tony Hawk's American Wasteland, Amped 3. God, the 360 was so good. So, of these three, Ben, is there any that you can just write off immediately?
Yeah, the N64, because there's only 2 good games. One, and I never played any of those other games. Well, no, I probably played Wayne Gretzky's 3D hockey, but I don't think I liked it.
It was the one with the light-up puck. I remember playing it a lot at Jeremy Meyer's house.
And Jeremy Myers loved hockey, so that makes sense.
Hockey is a cool game.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like Super Mario 64 was really the only good game on that we're really talking about right there, though.
And for it to be, I mean, granted, Super Mario 64 DS is an inferior version of the game in the way it controls and the way it looks. And as a result of the controls, the way it plays. But at the same time, and so Super Mario 64 DS gets a lot of shit. But I feel like a lot of people just ignore the fact that, holy shit, this is Super Mario 64 in your pocket.
Mm-hmm.
And so, to me, that's a better version of the game.
Yeah. Portability is great.
So I'm kind of with you. I'm going to write off the N64 because the main, really the only main event it's got is Super Mario 64. And there is what I consider to be a better version on the DS.
Yeah. Yeah.
So really, it comes down to the DS versus the 360. And
Feel the Magic only came out on one of those 2 systems.
You are correct. And I don't think that makes it an automatic winner.
Fuck, you're probably right, unfortunately.
I just, the 360 is just such a juggernaut in this bracket because, god damn.
What if it had had Halo 2 at launch?
It did.
It did?
Yeah, I mean, it was backwards compatible.
Oh, Halo! I forgot Halo 2 came out on Xbox
on Xbox.
Yeah.
Yeah, just about a year before the 360 came out.
But if it had had Halo 3 at launch.
Yes. So that's actually something we're going to get to later on once our bracket is concluded. But if it had had Halo 3 at launch, because there's only ever, like, Halo is the game that sells the Xbox, and it still is. And there's only ever been one Halo game available at launch, and that was the first one.
Mm-hmm. And that game, that didn't even make it to this round.
But it's going to get an honorable mention, I hope. But God, I like Call of Duty 2, I think was the really heavy hitter on the 360.
Amped 3 is pretty dope.
Amped 3 is such a good game. American Wasteland is such a good game.
I love Madden. I loved Live at that point in time. I didn't love 2K at that point in time.
Yeah, we were.
Most Wanted was a fun game.
Most Wanted was a great game.
Never really played Perfect Dark Zero.
I did, and sometimes I wish I didn't.
The PGR games were lame.
Yeah,
Gun
I guess
was cool though.
I guess that's something definitely to be taken into account. Is the 360, like, we're looking at these games that are just like, holy shit, these were such good games. But we are able to look at the 360 list and say this was kind of a stinker, and like the DS doesn't really have that. Like, even Feel the Magic was an interesting game.
Yeah. It's true. I never played Asphalt Urban GT.
I did, and it was okay at the time.
The Herb Sims in the City. I remember Paul Baisley had that.
Of course, Paul Baisley had that.
For some reason. He was the first person who I played Feel the Magic with, and then I think I bought it myself because of playing it with Paul. Or else maybe Paul let me borrow his copy or something.
I guess if I were to have to choose this is the bad one of the bunch, I would say the Herbs.
I mean, it was kind of cool.
Spider-Man 2 was a pretty bad game on the DS.
Yeah, I never played that on the DS, actually. I only played that on, like, Xbox.
Yeah. Xbox and PS2, Spider-Man 2 was an
a great
game.
game.
God, that game was arguably one of the best movie tie-in games ever. But on the DS and the PSP, it was a side-scrolling action game.
Yeah, that's no good.
Actually, I'm wrong about that. On the DS, it was a side-scrolling action game.
Yeah, I was going to say, on the PSP, why would it have been that?
On the PSP, it was a 3D, like, beat-em-up.
That would make more sense.
But regardless, neither of them provided the experience that game had on home consoles. So
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Amped 3, though.
Amped 3 was so... I gotta give it to 360. Like, Peter Jackson's King Kong. I waited in line before the 360 came out. I waited in line for an hour and a half to play a 10-minute demo of Call of Duty 2 a couple months before the 360 came out. And it was at the mall, and it was like this Microsoft event. And I waited to play Call of Duty 2 for 10 minutes. And I was just so blown away by it that I was like, I have to get this. Granted, I probably felt that way before, but
Madden 05 on the DS, you could draw your own hot routes.
I understand that that's a feature you really liked about Madden 05 on the DS, but that's not gonna...
Couldn't do that in Madden 06 on the 360.
Can't do that in Call of Duty 2. And then Condemned Criminal Origins, like, that game was fucking scary.
I remember playing that with you. I'd never played it, and then you and I started playing it one time. I never finished it, though.
I never finished it either. I was too scared. My dad got really into it when he was sick one time. And I remember he got really sick, and he had to stay home from work a couple of days, and he got really into Condemned. And then
Isn't it a Rockstar game?
No, it was a Sega game, I think.
Okay.
And then we went snowboarding, and while we were snowboarding, he was at home and he finished it. And I got home and he was like, I finished Condemned. And it's really cool because like you can pick up pretty much anything. And my favorite thing to use as a weapon is the locker door. And I was like, yeah. And he was like, yeah, it's got a lot of range and it hits really hard. And my dad was just like super into Condemned. He thought that was a great game. And I remember thinking that it was really pretty. I remember like looking at it and thinking, holy shit, this game looks good. And now I look back on it and I'm like, holy shit, that game looks fucking bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
I got to give this one to the 360. I mean, you can cast your vote how you want, and we can flip a coin if you're really going to vote for the DS. But
I mean, those hot routes.
The hot routes and Madden 05, right?
Yeah, and Feel the Magic, like.
Well, that's what I was saying. The hot routes and Madden 05.
I see what you're saying. All right, I'll vote for the 360. God damn it.
All right. And now, the second semifinal matchup, the GameCube, the Wii, and the PSP. The heavy hitters on the GameCube being Dave Mirra, Freestyle BMX 2, rest in peace. Luigi's Mansion, NHL Hits 2002, Star Wars Rogue Squadron 2, Rogue Leader, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3. And the Wii being, God, the Wii had some stinkers. Twilight Princess, Madden 07, best Madden game ever. Red Steel. God, Wii Sports. How did the Wii get through the first round?
Who was it up against?
Yeah, I'm looking at that right now. PS2.
Oh, the PS2. That's why it had an
easy first round. Might as well have been a bye week.
Yeah.
And then the PSP launched with Ape Escape on the Loose, Dynasty Warriors, Gretzky NHL, Luminous, Metal Gear Acid, Need for Speed Underground Rivals, NFL Street 2, Spider-Man 2, Tony Hawk's Underground 2, Twisted Metal Head On, Untold Legends, Wipeout Pure, and World Tour Soccer. Holy shit. It
didn't launch with the Madden?
So those aren't all of them, but I'm looking at the list right now.
That was probably NBA Live, because I remember playing a lot of NBA Live on PSP.
Yeah, I guess it didn't launch with a Madden. That's interesting.
Weird. I definitely also played Madden on PSP.
I mean, to be fair, though, the PSP did launch in April.
Okay. That does make sense then.
So
it's weird that they released a late version of NBA.
Yeah, I'm actually... This is a hyperlink. I'm going to click it. It just takes me to a Wikipedia creator page where I can write the article about the game. No, so I think that might have been the Sony Computer Entertainment NBA game, though.
Oh.
And
probably not good then, because then NBA Live came out on the next season. NBA Live came out, and I don't think they released another Sony Computer Entertainment NBA game.
Yeah, because it wouldn't make sense for EA to say we're going to wait on Madden, but we're going to put NBA Live on it.
Yeah, that's true.
But there were those 989 sports games like Gretzky NHL, World Tour Soccer. Those games were fucking awesome.
Tony Hawk's Underground 2 was pretty dope.
And that version of the game...
Because that's like where the Nailed It and stuff came in, right?
That's where Tony Hawk's Underground 2 was really just a refinement of Underground 1. They really didn't introduce a whole bunch. But, God, it was just such a good game.
And Need for Speed Rivals as well.
Yeah, that game was really fun.
Oh, NFL Street 2 was on. there.
Yeah.
So that was actually a pretty good game.
Yeah.
I do remember playing that.
And I mean,
Um,
but like Tony Hawk's Underground 2, that is the first game that I played because I had played the fuck out of Underground 2 on my Xbox. And playing Underground 2 because that's the game I bought at launch. Like when I bought my PSP, because the PSP came out in April and I bought it like a week and a half later. And when I like when you buy a console and you're a kid, you're just like, I can buy one game and this is the game I'm going to play for the next 4 months. Or like until my birthday. Right. And I bought Underground 2 and I put it in my PSP and I started playing it. And it was like a real gamble because I had Pro Skater 2, I think, on my Game Boy. And it's like, God, the Pro Skater games on Game Boy sucked.
mm-hmm.
But I started it up and I was just blown away. I was like, here is a fully 3D version of Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2 or Underground 2. And it's just as good as the one on my Xbox. And it's in a friggin' little box in my pocket.
I'm just saying though, of these three, the one that I would be the most stoked, like if I was like, okay, I'm buying a new console and I'm gonna get all of these games. The one that has the most games that I would be excited to play is GameCube.
Really?
Crazy Taxi's awesome.
Crazy
Taxi
Taxi is a good
Freestyle BMX 2 is awesome. Luigi's Mansion is awesome. Madden 2002 would be a solid Madden experience. NHL Hits was a fun game.
Hits was
Star Wars
such a
Rogue
good
Squadron
game.
2 Rogue Leader was a great game. THPS 3 was a great game. Like that has the most games overall that I'd be like, oh, nice. Like, because I'm willing to bet that Sony Computer Entertainment NBA game is terrible.
Yeah.
I don't know about Metal Gear Acid. That might be okay. I probably would not play Ape Escape. I've never played a Darkstalkers game. Dynasty Warriors I would probably be into. Gretzky NHL. I'm not super into NHL games, and especially if it's not NHL Hits. Lou Mines, I have no idea what the fuck that is. Need for Speed Underground Rivals, great game. NFL Street 2, all right. Ridge Racer, don't know what that is. Spider-Man 2, we talked about how it was just a beat 'em up, so not as good as the version
console
that was on. Yeah. THPS 2 or Tony Hawk's Underground 2 remix, solid game. Twisted Metal Head on, I don't know. I never played it. Could be great. Untold Legends, Brotherhood of the Blade, don't know anything about it. Wipeout Pure, the Wipeout games are okay. World Tour Soccer is probably not great.
No, World Tour Soccer, first of all, is fucking fantastic.
Okay, never mind. Fair enough. Never played it.
So I guess I was having some pretty severe tunnel vision on the PSP because I think that we're in agreement. We can throw the Wii out right now.
Yeah. The Wii.
Goddamn. It launched with cars. Sweet.
There's not like a real Nintendo title on there except for Zelda Twilight Princess.
Yeah, the heavy hitters for the Wii at launch were Twilight Princess, Excite Truck,
and Wii Sports. Really,
Wii Sports, and Madden.
Wii Sports was like the main thing that they sold, though.
Yeah, and that was a pack-in game. So we're throwing the Wii out, but I guess I was having some pretty severe tunnel vision because the GameCube is my favorite console of all time. And you're reminding me of Christmas of 2001 because I got the GameCube the day it came out. And that was November of 2001. And then Christmas came and every present under the tree that had my name on it was the same shape. And they were all the same size. And I got so many of these games for Christmas. And it was like, I was 11 years old and I had this new console that was just so fucking great. And like, like I just said, like, when you get a new console, when you're a kid, you get one game and that's the game you're going to have for 6 months. And I had this thing for a month, and I had played all the way through Luigi's Mansion several times because I just wanted to play my GameCube. And then Christmas happened, and I got fucking Madden. I got NHL Hits. I got Rogue Squadron. I got Pro Skater, and I got Wave Race. And like, I was just so blown away. And I played so much Pro Skater 3, and I played so much Madden, or so much Hits 2002, and I played a little bit of Madden, but I wasn't thrilled with it. But like, oh man, it was like it was probably the happiest I've ever been with a console launch.
No, that's what I'm saying. It's got, like, you can't, like, of games that you would be excited to play, that has more than either of the other two in this round.
Yeah. And I mean, I like when the PS4 came out, they put games out before they put the console out so that people could buy the games to have them ready. And Target was having their buy two get one free sale, and I bought I was like, okay, I'm really gonna splurge, and I'm gonna get 3 games. This is gonna be awesome. I'm gonna have 3 games at the launch of a console. And then I got a little bit out of control, and I wound up getting 6 games. And it was like the PS4, that seemed so luxurious, and I was 23. And it's like, it was a similar like launch window, and I had the same amount of games when I was 11. I was in heaven at that
Yeah,
moment.
but one of those games was fucking Killzone, which sucks.
Well, no, I'm saying I was in heaven when I was 11. Like the launch games I bought for the PS4, I think I gave 2 of them away because I just had zero interest.
Yeah, I remember being like, you convinced me to buy a PS4, and early on being a little frustrated that there were not more games that I wanted to play more. And then I ended up buying 2K a second time on PS4 for the same year, because I was like, well, that'll be a game that'll be at least good on the PS4.
You played a lot of weird games early in the PS4. You played that Infamous game. Granted, not that Infamous is weird, but like, it's a game that neither of us were into, like a series.
And I never finished it because it was not that good. And then I think GTA 5 came out, and I was like, well, I'll just play GTA 5 again.
Yeah, and that's the moment. GTA 5 was the moment that the PS4 had arrived for us.
Mm-hmm. Because then it was like, well, we don't need to play GTA 5 on PS3 online anymore. We can play it on PS4 online.
Yeah. So, I guess, what are you going to vote for?
GameCube.
I got to give it to the GameCube, too.
Dave Mirra Freestyle BMX 2.
Rest in
Fun-ass
peace.
game. Yeah. Sad day.
So that takes us to the finals. The 360 versus the GameCube. And we're actually going to wrap that up at the very beginning of our next week's podcast.
Fair enough.
We're going to do that before we even do the news. But I do want to know what you're going to be playing this week.
Hopefully some Resident Evil 2, undoubtedly some 2K, maybe something. Oh, what was that game we were talking about? The
Apex Legends.
Yeah, maybe some Apex Legends.
Give it a try. Give it a whirl.
Yeah, give it the old college effort.
That's right. I am contractually obligated to play Kingdom Hearts 2.
Naked?
Well, maybe I'll stream it naked just for you. But I'm contractually obligated to play Kingdom Hearts 2, so that's what I'm going to be doing on Friday. And like you said, I'm going to try out some Apex Legends. I'm interested in. I'm optimistic about that game. Probably too optimistic, but I am.
You should also watch Big Mouth.
I'm also going to watch Big Mouth this week.
It's fucking funny.
But before we go, it's time for our weekly trivia challenge.
Oh, yes, no competition.
No competition. Ben gets a chance to jump out in the lead with no repercussions. All right, Ben. The extreme sports genre of gaming isn't nearly as popular as it once was. During the heyday, the extreme snowboarding series SSX dominated mountains. What was the fourth game in the mainline series? Was it A, SSX Blur, B, SSX on Tour, C, SSX Shred, or D, was it just called SSX?
Fuck. My first inkling is to go with SSX on Tour.
Is that your final answer?
Should it be?
I'm not going to give you any hints. You just got to tell me, is that your final answer? Great radio right here.
Well, what do you think, dude?
What do I think? I knew the answer.
Well, yeah, but should that be my final answer? I'm just trying to get a good feeling.
You're not going to get any hints or feelings.
Now I'm going to go SSX Blur.
All right. SSX Blur was the fifth game in the mainline series. The fourth was called SSX On Tour.
No,
It was.
No, that's not true.
It was SSX.
Tricky came out at the same time as SSX.
No, it didn't. It came out a year later.
According to the Wikipedia page.
It came out a year later. So it went SSX, SSX Tricky, SSX3, SSX On Tour, SSX Blur. Then it got a reboot in 2012, and they made another game called SSX. And SSX Shred is something that I made up. So,
damn it, I was right with my first guess, and then fucking Wikipedia lied to me.
Oh, so you're cheating. All right, well, that's all we've got for you tonight. If you liked what you heard, don't forget to subscribe and find everything else we do, including No Refunds, the podcast that watches bad movies so you don't have to. All in one spot over at coldnorthpro.com.
Such a great website.
We'll be back next week. Hopefully talking about some Resident Evil 2 if Ben and Andrew can get their acts together and finish it. I'm the Law Morris, and until next time, reset.
Meow. Oh wait, reset.
You're so close to getting a nice little jump on it.
Yeah, but you made me second guess myself by asking if it was my final answer.
I'm always gonna ask that.
Well, that's dumb.
Well, last week I didn't, and you guys were pissed at me about the wording of the question.
Well, you can be, but you should have just told me, yep, you were right. SSX On Tour.